If you're planning to buy a new car this festive season, don't book anything just yet because the next few months are going to be crazy for the Indian car market. We're getting a brand new Kia 7-seater, a completely new Hyundai SUV, Mahindra's first proper lifestyle pickup, a plug-in hybrid SUV from a brand that's entering India for the first time. And there's even a new electric SUV that could directly take on the Mahindra XEV9S. So today, I'm giving you 7 cars that I genuinely think are worth waiting for before Diwali 2026. And I'm not going to waste your time with things like new bumpers, new colors, and 5 extra features. For every car, I'm going to tell you the stuff that actually matters. How much would it cost? What will it compete with? What's actually new? And most importantly, should you wait for it? This is Sunday Autodrop. Let's go. Let's start with something that's coming really soon. The Skoda Slavia Facelift is launching on August 18th. And if you're currently considering a Slavia, Virtus, or Verna, I honestly wouldn't buy one this week because the facelift isn't just going to be a new grille and some different headlights. The Slavia is expected to get updated styling, more features, and most importantly, a new automatic gearbox for the 1 liter TSI. The current 1.0 TSI automatic uses a 6-speed torque converter. The facelift is expected to replace that with an 8-speed automatic, and that could actually make a noticeable difference to the way the car drives in everyday traffic. The 1.5-liter TSI with the DSG should continue as well. Inside, we're also expecting some feature upgrades, including a larger digital driver's display similar to what you get in the newer Kushaq. So this isn't completely a new car, but it's basically Skoda fixing some of the things people have been asking for. And there's another reason to wait. If you don't care about the facelift, the arrival of the new car could mean much better discounts on the outgoing Slavia. So either way, waiting until August 18th makes sense. Now let's talk about a car that needs absolutely no introduction, the three-door Thar. Mahindra is preparing a facelift for the Thar three-door, and this is interesting because the Thar is finally getting some of the things people have been asking for since the current generation launched. The biggest change is going to be the design. The facelift is expected to take a lot of inspiration from the Thar Rocks, so think a more mature front end, revised lighting, and a more modern overall look. But the bigger question is the interior. Because let's be honest, the Thar is extremely cool. But as a daily driver, there are cars costing half as much that have more convenient interiors. Mahindra is expected to address some of that with a more modern cabin and additional features. And importantly, we aren't expecting a major mechanical overhaul. The real reason to wait is more features, better everyday usability, and a more premium looking Thar. So if you've been sitting on the fence between a Thar and a Thar Rocks, the facelift could make the three-door a much more attractive proposition. Prices are expected to remain in roughly the same territory, although a small increase is likely. So if you're planning to buy a three-door Thar, wait. The update is close enough that buying the current car right now doesn't make much sense unless you're getting a really good discount. Number 5 is the Mahindra Global Pickup. Now, this is something that I have been waiting for. Mahindra is finally bringing its global pickup to India, and this isn't supposed to be another Bolero pickup that you see being used commercially. This is a proper lifestyle pickup. It's based on Mahindra's new generation ladder frame platform and has been designed from the beginning as a global product. And just look at the thing. It's huge, it's aggressive, and it's a kind of road presence that makes even a Thar look normal. But what matters more is what's underneath. Mahindra has talked about features like level 2 ADAS, trailer sway mitigation, all around airbags, driver modes, semi automatic parking, and a proper off road focused setup. So, this isn't just take a Scorpio and put a load bed behind it. This is supposed to be Mahindra's answer to the lifestyle pickup market. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The big question is price. Current estimates put it around the 25 lakh mark, although Mahindra hasn't announced the final price yet. And if Mahindra can actually keep it around that level, this could be a seriously interesting alternative for someone who wants something different. You get proper pickup, you get off road ability, you get a massive amount of road presence, and you can actually use the rear bed for bikes, camping equipment, luggage, whatever you want. But if Mahindra prices it at 30 to 35 lakh or more, I'm not sure it makes nearly as much sense. So this is one where I'm saying wait for the price because the price could make or break this entire product. Number 4 is Hyundai's new Beyond based SUV. Now, this is probably the most underrated car on this list. Hyundai is bringing a completely new SUV to India, internally known as the BSC4i, and yes, it is based on the Bayon. But before you think this is just a Franx rival, it isn't. The Indian version is expected to be around 4.18 meters long, meaning Hyundai is positioning it below the Creta but above the Venue. Basically, Hyundai is creating another SUV in the space where Maruti already has the Grand Vitara and the Victoris. And here's the really interesting bit: CNG. The SUV is expected to use a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated petrol engine with manual and CVT options. And Hyundai is also expected to offer a factory CNG version. If that happens, this will be Hyundai's first SUV above 4 meters with CNG, and the CNG tank is expected to sit underneath the car while still retaining a spare wheel. This could be a massive selling point. Because you're spending around 13 to 16 lakhs on an SUV, you want something bigger than a Venue. You don't necessarily need the performance of a turbo petrol, and you want something with low running costs. Suddenly, this Hyundai becomes very interesting, and Hyundai is expected to load it up with features, including ADAS. The launch is expected around July-September 2026, so it should arrive well before Diwali. So, if you're shopping in this price bracket, I would absolutely wait for this one because this could become one of Hyundai's smartest products in the Indian market. Number 3, the new MG electric SUV. Now we're getting into the really interesting stuff. JSW MG is preparing a completely new 7-seater SUV, and here's why I'm excited about it. It will be available in two powertrains, an EV and a plug-in hybrid. The SUV is based on the Wuling Xeon Starlight 560 and it's internally known as the MG520. The EV version is expected to get a 69 kilowatt hour battery with around a 600 kilometers of claimed range that immediately puts into the XEV9S territory. In fact, JSW MG is specifically targeting the XEV9S with this car. And here's the crazy part: JSW wants to price the EV below the XEV9S 70 kilowatt hour. So imagine getting a large 7-seat electric SUV with roughly 600 kilometers of range for less money than the XEV9S. That's a very interesting proposition, but the PHEV might be even more interesting. The plug-in hybrid gets a 1.5-liter petrol engine, a 20.5 kilowatt-hour battery, and an electric motor. The international version can apparently travel around 125 kilometers purely on electric power, while the claimed combined range is over 1,000 kilometers. Now, obviously, don't take those international figures as final India figures, but the concept is what matters. You could drive to work every day like an EV, and then when you want to do a 500 or 600-kilometer trip, you have a petrol engine sitting there. That is exactly the kind of car that would convince someone who is still nervous about buying an EV. And it's a 7-seater. So, for a family looking at something like the 7XO, the 9S, or even a diesel automatic SUV, this could be a very interesting alternative. JSWMG is targeting an August 2026 launch, so if you're looking at a 20 to 30 lakh SUV, I would absolutely wait for this. This could be one of the biggest surprises of the year. Number 2 is JSW J-Toll's T2 based SUV. Okay, this one is wild. JSW Motors is entering the Indian passenger car market, and its first car is going to be based on the G-Toll T2. But it won't be sold as a G-Tour. It'll carry a JSW badge, and this is not some boring crossover. It's a proper, boxy, rugged SUV. Think Defender vibes, but much cheaper. And the powertrain is where this gets really interesting. It's expected to come with a plug-in hybrid setup combining a 1.5-liter turbo petrol with a 26.7 kilowatt-hour battery and two electric motors. The international version makes around 381 horsepower and 610 newton meters. That's a lot. And because it's a plug-in hybrid, you can drive it on electric power for shorter trips, but you still have the petrol engine for longer journeys. The international version also has a claimed electric range of around 139 kilometers, although again, we need to wait for the India specific figures. And it's not a small SUV. It's roughly in the size territory of something like an XUV 7XO, and it has a 580-liter boot in the 5-seat configuration. Now, here's where things get confusing. JSW has officially said that its first SUV will be positioned somewhere in the 15 to 30 lakh price bracket. But industry sources have also suggested that the highly equipped PHEV could land closer to 38 to 40 lakh rupees. So we need to wait for the final positioning and India spec details. And that's exactly why I'm excited about this car. Because if JSW somehow manages to bring a 380 horsepower plug-in hybrid SUV to India for anywhere near 30 lakh, that changes the game. The company says its first SUV will arrive before Diwali 2026. So if you're shopping anywhere from 25 to 40 lakh, do not buy your next SUV without at least seeing this thing first, because this could either be the bargain of the year or it could be way too expensive. And right now, we simply don't know which one it will be. And finally, the car that I think has the biggest chance of making people rethink their premium SUV purchase. Number one, the Kia Sorento. And unlike some of the cars that I mentioned today, this one has an actual launch date, September 4th, 2026. Kia has already started official pre-bookings, and this will become Kia India's flagship three-row ICE SUV. But the reason I'm putting it at number one isn't simply because it's a big SUV. It's because of this hybrid. The Sorento will be Kia India's first hybrid model, and that could completely change the premium seven-seat SUV conversation. Because right now, if you're spending 40 lakh plus on a large SUV, you're looking at cars like the Fortuner, Majester, Kodiaq, Tayron, and the Meridian. But most of these cars still rely heavily on conventional petrol or diesel powertrains. The Sorento is coming in with a hybrid option, and Kia is also expected to offer a diesel. So you could potentially have diesel for long distance practicality or hybrid for efficiency and smoother everyday driving. And this is a proper seven-seater, not a five-seater with two emergency seats thrown in. It's also going to be locally assembled in India, which is important because pricing will determine whether this car is genuinely competitive or just another expensive SUV. Current expectations put the starting price around 40 lakhs ex showroom. And honestly, if Kia can keep the hybrid anywhere close to that number, I would wait. Because if you're about to spend 40 to 50 lakh rupees on a premium family SUV, you owe it to yourself to drive the Sorento before making that decision, especially if the third row is genuinely usable. Because that could be the one thing that decides whether this is actually a great family SUV or just another good looking premium SUV. Those are the seven cars I'd generally put on your radar before Diwali 2026. But let's make this simple. If you're spending around 10 to 15 lakh, wait for the Hyundai based SUV and the Slavia facelift. If you want a Thar, wait for the facelift. If you want something completely different and you're willing to spend 20 to 30 lakh rupees, keep a very close eye on the Global Pickup and the new MG SUV. If you're looking at a premium SUV, the JSW T2 and the Kia Sorento deserve your attention. And if I had to pick the three cars I'm genuinely most curious about, the MG, the JSW T2, and the Sorento. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe because Sunday Autodrop is officially a thing now. Every Sunday, we're going to talk about the cars, launches, and developments that actually matter without unnecessary BS. This is Automobile Infos. I'll see you next Sunday. Drive safe. Have a happy journey.